Hello. Hello and welcome. Welcome to back to the journey within. This is session number 4. If you haven't watched session 1, 2, and 3, I encourage you. They all build upon themselves. This is finding your true purpose and becoming your best self. I'm the author of The Hero's Journey Inwards. It's the ego's journey to the soul. My books are available at Amazon. If you're looking to dive deeper into this, understanding your soul, the power of your soul, that you have a soul, I would pick up The Soul Doesn't Need $1,000,000, 7 Secrets to Access the Power Within You, Discover Purpose and Meaning in Work That You Love. This hero's journey inwards is, I believe, inside each one of us, and we have the power to free ourselves first and then others. So you have the power to free us all by freeing yourself first. Your hero's power is contained in your soul. The hero's journey inwards is where we heroically first save ourselves from our own ego, and we have seen in our own lives how self doubt can be deadly to a dream, and self sabotage is like being one's own enemy. So, if you've seen this in your life, keep listening. How do we access this inner hero? Well, we're going to begin a journaling journey if you haven't already. And this is where you're saving yourself from yourself by taking this hero's journey inwards. Just know I have a free blog if you want more. And just know the world needs heroes and the world needs you. So please take this hero's journey inwards for your own self help and development. Always like to thank Joseph Campbell for his discoveries of the monomyth and the power of myth. He lived to 83. He was an author and professor. He wrote The Hero with 1,000 Faces and found a pattern, identifiable pattern that each hero seems to take within a hero's journey. I believe that same pattern is on the inside of us. One of his quotes is, "There's a certain typical sequence of actions which can be detected from stories all over the world and for many periods of history. So, what if we took this spiritual path inwards and took a journey inside? Where would we go from the known to the unknown? From the ego, I believe we'll find the special world and we'll find our soul. The map means that the hero's journey map is not just outside of us, it's also symbolically inside of us, and that there's a powerful potential for each one of us to become a hero. Richard Rohr says, transform people, transform people. So when you can transform and get through these outer layers of your false self to your true self, to your soul, get to this inner self, you transform yourself from the inside out. You can help others in the world. This is a holy journey. It's a journaling journey to your true self, to your center, to your soul. And this is a workshop, which means self work. So taking notes, doing the writing exercises. This is a spiritual quest where you separate and return back to your ordinary world, able to see with new eyes. We do this journey separately. You do have to separate. That's one of the steps of this, but we can do it here together, even though it's a very individual thing. So we have a new slide for you, and it's the inner self, understanding this inner battery, the dark and the light. It's two ways of being, and it's also two ways of seeing. So you have option A to lead from the ego's sphere, or B, lead from the soul's light, your authenticity. So your soul is your inner buried treasure, and this is the essence of your true self. Your ego was constructed to for survival, to protect you. Just like there's two parts of us, like a masculine side, a feminine side, or you can understand there's a masculine energy and a feminine energy. There's two other energies inside. You do not have to kill this ego, just the power and the rule it has over your entire life. It can serve the soul. It can do its job for the sake of the soul. So the ego is looking to attain egoic ends. It's obviously easily influenced and scared. And one of these can become the leader in your life because this is your inner self. And there's an animal part too that has chemicals and there's biology in play, hormones, things we're battling as an animal. You've seen those previous slides, but there's also these two other energies. There is light and darkness within each of us and everything. And there's an intelligence inside that's wiser than you, that's running the functions of your liver and the functions of your digestion. You're not doing that. Your inner intelligence is actually doing that. And you can go on this quest to come back with the new ways of seeing, being and seeing right here from the soul. This is a self-help workshop meaning we do the work and it's designed to bring out the best in you. So, we're going to achieve a hero's mindset, identify the steps and stages of the hero's journey uh, inwards, ego's journey to the soul, and know where you are on the map. And we want to access your soul. So, here's some of the steps and stages that we typically go through on this journey. We're down and seeking mentors, guides, coaches, and allies who align with our soul's mission and asking for help and a safe space to explore our inner world. Then we're emptying ourselves of obstacles, guilt, grief, purging our pain to be able to tell a new story, to create a new narrative of who we are, to see ourselves in a new light, being an overcomer, brave, courageous, graceful warrior, willing to take on life's missions, challenges, and assignments. So I believe this getting the mentor is one of the most important steps. So session 4 is seeking guides and mentors. You don't want to go into the ego unescorted. One of my wise mentors says you don't even want to go to the soul unescorted. We want to purge ourselves of the pain that gets in the way and see ourselves in a new light to be able to tell a new story. The exercise is a self-forgiveness letter from the soul to the ego. You want to be talking to yourself. If there's been self-inflicted pain or there's inner anger at the self, we want to write this forgiveness letter. This is a very powerful tool, the self-forgiveness letter. So you might want to pause that and write down and start with, I forgive you, and your name, and just go. Just write everything that comes up and comes out for the purge. However, it's really important to have these guides and mentors before you do stuff like this because it can bring up a lot of pain from the past, can bring everything up and out, can feel overwhelming, you can feel very alone. So my tip first is to write down the 5 places that you could actually find a mentor or guide and seek out 3. They could be therapists, life coaches, sponsors. I didn't write spiritual directors, but they could be ministers or accountability people from retreats and workshops. And why do I say 3? Because you will need, if you're on an emotional cliff, you're feeling these feelings that come up and they're intense. You want to be able to pick up the phone and get somebody. And you can't rely on just one person to be your guide. I often bounced my ideas off of 3 people, and guess what? 3 different perspectives. Everybody coming from their own perspective, and not everybody available by phone. They have health challenges, they have their own journey. So having 3 sometimes it's in program like recovery programs, you have a list of 10 people you can call and whoever picks up is the person to help at that time. So just know it's difficult and oftentimes impossible to be a hero while you're angrily fighting your own personal problems. So if you are in your own way because you're so busy fighting yourself, how can you fight what's going on in the world that you want to correct that's wrong? How can you fight for others when you're battling yourself? So you want to get out of the self. You want to get control over that inner self I showed you. And that battery is going to operate to bring out the best in you and help bring out the best in the world. I have this new visual for the ego's journey to the soul where you can see how the outer version, the call to adventure, can be this inner version can be very much like the call of the hero and the outer world. So I've got them backwards here. So the hero is an ordinary man who receives the call, has a refuser of the call, but crosses a threshold, usually with some type of push or mentor right there. You, ordinary you, hears the call to adventure, call to know yourself, but there's a refusal to look deeper within, and we have to do this self help work, usually a push that gets us over here, and we're in spiritual study meeting our mentors. Same as finding the guardians of the gate and getting the allies together. Then there's tests and challenges. The outer hero goes into we are being tested too. Will we get past our own anger, our own self-sabotage? Will we get over it? Will we stop? Will we create new healthy habits, patterns? There's the cave and the descent for the hero, and there is a humbling of the ego. There is like a death of the egoic rule. And there is like a death here in the hero's journey, with a battle. So we battle ourselves here, and we pour the light of the soul onto the dark ego, and a new self emerges with the light of the soul, and we make a return and bring back the hero's light. And we live a heroic mission with purpose. So if you see this ego's journey to the soul goes all the way around, just like the hero has a final battle and then a death and ending, a resurrection, a return, and they bring back the boon to the community and they come back from this journey. So our job is to go on this inner journey and not get stuck inside the self, and come back. And this is a challenge too, to cross this threshold. I've needed mentors right here to cross this threshold. You might be trying to, you've discovered something, you've written a book or something, and you want to bring it back to your community, to help. There are phases. We're going through phases in life, phases in our age, and you're at home in your ordinary world, but then there's an awareness and there's an acknowledgement. And then we want to go and jump over to phase two, the non ordinary world. Take some action, accept help, have new awarenesses, get an attitude change, have some advancement, attain something, where we do this fight. And then you're coming back to the ordinary world. There's apprehension, and we have to acclimate the new version of us, and we have to adapt. But we have yet to make this achievement to the hero, getting from the ego to the soul. Just know that there's phases, there's steps. This is just a simple visual to help you understand that this isn't from here to here. Once you're over here as the hero and you can make this transition from this to this faster, that takes great skill. Here's a recap for the tools of connecting to the soul. Remember, these are all the ways to get in. You can pause and write a few down. You can even go to a sanctuary. And the key word here is tools. Tools meaning different ones will work for different people at different times. There's tools to out the ego, because you want to out it and get out of it, out of being immersed in it at its mercy. And you're welcome to join me on your journey in Facebook. Remember to like and subscribe to this channel for more free videos, more workshops. The book is available in paperback and Kindle on Amazon. And I want to help you get from your ego into your soul. I have a special reading of Slaying the Dragon, The Power of Planning. Benjamin Franklin says, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. So I'm going to read to you this part, which will be part of a daily reader. I'm going to leave you with the image of the ego's journey to the soul. Just know there will be inner dragons, just like the hero might face a dragon. On the hero's journey, there will be many obstacles in our way and battles to fight. On the ego's journey to the soul, there's namely the obstacle of the self. Yes, we do have to fight ourselves and come out heroic with a personal victory. We have to defeat our own saboteur to venture out, embark, move forward fiercely. Inevitably, we will face the many faces of our ego and variations of fear if we dare to step outside our comfort zone. While these fear based egoic variations were intended and constructed by the self to keep us safe, they often get in the way of not just our progress on the path, but also our greatest dreams. We risk staying stuck inside ourselves and never living a fulfilling, purposeful life. Procrastination is lethal to the mission. Often, it's only us who stand in our own way. To accomplish our goals, we must slay the dragon of delay and get past that deep, dark cave of nothingness. There's an innate inertia we tend to feel after hearing the call, which holds us back from starting projects or ever finishing them. We must watch out for black bouts of self-doubt that can stop us in the middle of things and paralyze us from proceeding any further on a project dear to our heart. When our ego is triggered, usually into past trauma, perfectionism, or pride, it can put the brakes on our best intentions. This is why we have to live each day to the fullest, doing the most we can with that day. We can't continually use the excuse that we'll get to it tomorrow, because that's exactly how the dragon speaks to us in lizard tongue and lures us into its cave. We cannot listen to the large reptile of laziness. From our soul, we get the message all the time to go for it. Generally, it comes in sparks of inspiration. Those sparks are meant to ignite us and launch us. But if we don't construct our lives around our goals and figure in time to do them, nothing gets accomplished. Then this self-defeat reinforces our ego's dragon breath of negative self-talk, like we weren't good enough, worthy, or cut out for it anyway. The ego dragon gets more proof to add to the long list of reasons, excuses, and justifications why we can't do whatever we're called to do. Don't get stuck holding a bag of excuses and walking backwards on the path when you've come so far. Find the shiny sword of the soul and cut yourself free. Our soul asks us to slow down, stop, reflect, and get organized around what matters most to us. It asks us to live intentionally and tap into the power of planning. When we don't have the intention to be intentional with our choices, then we do whatever with our time. The time wasters of the world live paycheck to paycheck, doing a job they hate while complaining about their life, work, and bosses. They're locked into an internal cycle of stuckness because they haven't made the journey to access the power of their soul. For temporary relief, they daydream, fantasize about being a millionaire for ego satisfaction. The internal mental escape is just enough to distract them from the necessary self-work required and actually seeing that the soul doesn't need $1,000,000 to feel wealthy or be happy in life. The ego has many tricks to keep its victims close, including an internal drugstore full to lull the person into unconscious living and away from anything difficult. If that doesn't work, the ego uses the dragons of distraction. In the dreamer's world, you can never fail because it's all fantasy. To daydream takes no guts, grit, or gusto. Many success gurus talk about how your habits create your life. It's just applied logic. If we build in healthy, productive habits, and these small conscious choices will add up. Typically, a book is written chapter by chapter. We are writing our own life story every ordinary day. However, the road to extraordinary has many dragons to defeat. We can realize our dreams if we defeat the inner dragon that speaks to us the most, the one that speaks to us the most or stands in our way. This is about you fighting to become empowered, because if you postpone your plans until tomorrow you'll hear the same saboteur voice again, but this time it's louder. And it can hit you with fresh evidence that you don't do what you say or set out to do it. The challenge is to challenge this dragon when it tries to pull you off course or stop your mission. You must breathe fire back to any fire-breathing dragon if it gets louder. Call the giant lizard what it is. Call it lazy. Realize and recognize that you do battle every day with who is in charge of the choices that you make, because every choice matters and our choices make choices whether they are consciously made or not. This is the problem of the self, where we have an ego construct that operates in the shadows and a soul system that functions in the light of the truth. If we want to tap into and lead ourselves, our choices, and our lives with our soul, it all starts with having a strategic alliance with our soul and slaying our first dragon. Plan for this. Today, notice where you spend your downtime. Is it being chronically entertained? Do you fill every gap with TV, electronics, news, drama, games, or social media? Do you journal and take time to listen to your inner self? Or do you not have any downtime and need to carve out time and space? Do you feel restless when having nothing to do and need to find ways to savor stillness until your soul can speak to you? How are you in your own way? What is your dragon? Here are some self-reflection questions. You might want to write these down and pause as needed. How can you be more intentional in your life? Is there something you need to start doing today? How can you plan for your own hesitations and fears to crop up? What self-defeating habits or thoughts keep you stuck? Do you blame others when you don't listen to yourself? Do you avoid taking responsibility for your life, choices, health, dreams, goals, missions, finances? How can you slay your dragon of delay? Thank you for listening. I'm author Sonya Zappone. I'm happy to bring you these free workshop webinars where you can take the hero's journey inwards, and we'll see you in the next session.